Tonight on CFTK-TV News, search is suspended for missing Thomas Kelly, a troublesome grizzly bear has been shot, and Vancouver Island braces for wildfire.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello and thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. I'm Jaylene Matthews. Kitimat RCMP say that yesterday afternoon they were advised of a rafter possibly drowning on the Kitimat River near Nabila Creek along Highway 37. Kitimat RCMP say officers attended and were able to locate a 79-year-old Kitimat resident who was confirmed to have drowned. With the assistance of the British Columbia Conservation Service, Kitimat Search and Rescue, and Kitimat firefighters paramedics, the male was able to be recovered and returned to Kitimat. RCMP say this appears to have been an unfortunate accident and the investigation has been turned over to the BC Coroner's Service. And the search for missing person Thomas Kelly has been suspended by Search and Rescue and RCMP. Kelly went into the Skeena River Saturday evening and hasn't been seen since. RCMP say search and rescue teams did a comprehensive search of the Skeena River by boat and helicopter without locating the missing. In consultation with Search and Rescue, they say further search efforts have been suspended until new information is obtained or the environmental conditions change. However, family and community continue to search with a coordinated volunteer search effort using GPS mapping being planned for Saturday. The province has named a new wildlife management area on the north coast that covers two inlets, Kishkosh and Kitkiata, which are located southeast of Prince Rupert. A statement from the Lands Ministry says the area includes a habitat for humpback whales, wild salmon, and overwintering and migratory seabirds and shorebirds. It says the area also supports food security for First Nations and coastal communities because the inlets have also been home to ground fish, bivalves, crabs, and prawns. The next steps will be for the First Nations and the province to co-develop a management plan for the area. And a grizzly bear that's been causing distress on a Gulf island near Powell River has been shot. CTV's Andy Garland reports.
An image shows the lifeless body of a grizzly bear known as Tex.
I received a phone call yesterday afternoon from a friend of mine. RCMP officer has stopped her, told her that the bear was in the area and that he was shot at. He's wounded.
The BC Conservation Officers Service went to Texada Island near Powell River yesterday to investigate allegations the grizzly bear seen for several weeks had been shot.
Our officers found the carcass of the tagged grizzly bear. So we were able to confirm that the bear was indeed shot.
This was all sadly a predictable outcome. I'm extremely sad for the bear.
People looking out for Tex feared someone would take matters into their own hands ever since he swam to the island back in May.
I have a mix of emotions. I'm extremely angry.
And there is really no excuse for it.
There's a plan in place to have Tex translocated to a First Nations territory in the Knight Inlet. It was completely funded, but needed the province's approval.
All the appeals and my short letter, technical letter to government went totally ignored. They just went on like everything's going to be okay.
The province would not translocate Tex because he had already been relocated twice from the Powell River area and came back.
He needed to be taken far away. He also needed to be where there was fewer bears, and the government, the province, took him to the same area twice.
Advocates for Tex and other grizzly bears want to see better communication with First Nations and communities, as population growth likely means more young male bears will travel to find new territory of their own.
Have a much longer ancestral relationship to the grizzly bears and have coexisted with him for a long time. And
as many on Texada and beyond struggle to understand the killing, the BC Conservation Service is asking anyone with information about the shooting to come forward. Andy Garland, CTV News.
Coming up next, wildfire risk increases on Vancouver Island. Diverted flights to Vancouver were due to a surprising hijacking situation. CTV's Isabella Zavarisi has more.
A small white plane flies into the YVR airspace Tuesday afternoon, prompting this warning from an air traffic controller.
We do have an aircraft that has been hijacked is in the vicinity of the airport overflying. I'm just going to let you know that.
Just before 1 p.m., the flight took off from Victoria International Airport and ended up circling over YVR before landing on an airport runway.
For 172, and just in case anything starts heading towards you.
A witness reports the aircraft was chased on the runway by law enforcement before the pilot eventually stopped and was arrested by Richmond RCMP. An airport source tells CTV as the incident was unfolding and the plane was in the air near YVR, a man told air traffic control he had hijacked a Cessna 172.
We really don't know what will happen, but this aircraft is just circling overhead, and we don't know, of course, their intentions.
The plane landed here at around 1:45. Throughout the evening, investigators have been on site inspecting the plane and taking photos. Air traffic control and the RCMP are using the term hijacked, but no one took over the plane mid-flight or was taken hostage. When the plane landed, the pilot was alone. It's still unknown how the pilot gained access to the plane at the Victoria Flying Club and was able to take off. The bizarre chain of events caused delays at YVR. The airport had a 39-minute ground stop, resulting in domestic and international flights being diverted elsewhere.
There were nine flights that were inbound to YVR that were diverted to other aircraft. So we had some go to Calgary, to Edmonton, to Abbotsford, to Comox, and to Seattle.
YVR says everything is back to normal as Mounties continue to investigate. But there are still major questions and concerns about how and why this happened. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Richmond.
A very large suspicious fire in Chilowak is being investigated. CTV's Reagan Hasegawa reports.
Massive orange flames shoot out of a building on Wellington Avenue near Main Street shortly after midnight.
As high as the trees, you saw the peaks of the flame were like, they were high, man. It was crazy.
The fire started in the vacant apartments on the second floor and spread quickly.
We think it was burning for a while before being noticed and was significantly involved in the roof space before we arrived.
Crews entered the building, but the heat and smoke were too intense.
They had to withdraw after a period of time due to high heat and deteriorating conditions. The fire was quite deep-seated.
2 units received smoke and water damage. 2 others are destroyed, including this wig, beauty supply, and barber shop. The owner's sons say their mother has spent months renovating it, and the grand opening was supposed to be this weekend.
The space means practically everything to her. These past few months, I'm talking like 10-hour work days, 12 hours. She's in there every time. She falls asleep in there sometimes.
It will be a significant process to determine whether the building is going to stay or be torn down.
But as bad as the damage is, officials say the whole block could have ended up in ashes due to the close proximity of the buildings. The assistant chief is commending his crews.
That was not an easy feat, and ultimately their hard work helped save that whole strip of downtown.
The cause of the fire is still under investigation, but fire officials say it is suspicious in nature. Reagan Hasegawa, CTV News, Chilowak.
Risk of wildfire on Vancouver Island has increased and measures are being put in place to mitigate danger. CTV's Brendan Strain reports.
As the risk of wildfire rises on Vancouver Island and a campfire ban is announced for later this week, crews are on the front lines of an out-of-control blaze in the Souk C2C Park.
It was discovered yesterday on July 14th. Today, we have 16 personnel and 1 helicopter assigned to it.
It's 1.2 hectares in size, roughly the size of a football field, suspected to be human-caused.
We did not see any significant growth overnight. Were able to get some air tankers in to drop retardant on it yesterday, both to box in the fire to contain it and as well to blanket the fire to really cool it down.
The Coastal Fire Center says currently no structures are being threatened by the blaze.
We got about 200 kids up there, many of them overnight, who are, as I've heard, having a ball.
Camp Thunderbird is roughly 6 kilometers from the wildfire. The YMCA that runs the camp says it has been in constant contact with Coastal Fire. In the case, there needs to be an evacuation.
It's sort of far enough away and small enough that we are not treating it as a risk at this point.
This one is coming in a few weeks earlier than years past.
For the mayor of Souk, the news that a fire had broken out near her community brought back memories of last year's Old Man Lake wildfire, which at its peak grew to 230 hectares and burned for months through challenging terrain.
Just please be mindful when you're off exploring our wild places that these fires are all human caused and they didn't need to happen.
Vancouver Island is currently listed at a level 2 drought rating. With the province heating up, Thursday at noon we'll see a campfire ban brought into effect.
That means that there will be no open flame, no campfire. However, propane stoves and fire pits are permitted.
Coastal Fire asks that you download the BC Wildfire Service app to stay informed about current wildfire conditions throughout the province and also to report a fire through the app. Brendan Strain, CTV News, Souk.
Let's take a look at your Northwest weather report. Tonight on the North Coast, expect a few clouds and winds from the northwest at 30 kilometers an hour, except 50 over exposed coastal sections. Over the next few days on the North Coast, expect it to stay sunny with maybe a few clouds until Sunday, when you'll maybe get some showers. Daily highs between 16 and 17 degrees, overnight lows around 11-12 degrees. Tonight in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect a few clouds and winds from the south at 20 kilometers an hour, gusting to 40, becoming light late this evening, a low of 15 degrees. Over the next few days in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect temperatures to cool slightly but remain in the 20s with sunshine remaining through the weekend. Daily highs between 21 and 27 degrees, overnight lows in the 12-13 degree range. Tonight in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, it's looking partly cloudy with a 60% chance of showers early this evening with a risk of thunderstorm, clearing overnight, a low of 9 degrees. Over the next few days in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, expect showers and possible thunderstorms through to Friday, then back to sunshine on Saturday. Daily highs between 25 and 28 degrees, overnight lows between 9 and 13 degrees. Checking your highways around the Northwest now. On Highway 16, there's construction in Prince Rupert with a detour in effect, as well as bridge maintenance, line painting, utility work, and mowing. On Highway 37, watch for bridge construction and maintenance, as well as frost heaves and crack sealing. On Highway 37A, there's paving operations, road sweeping, and a section with falling rocks. On the Niska Highway, watch out for road sweeping and line painting. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, inflation rates stall slightly. Cases of measles continue to be on the rise, and the worst hit province is currently Alberta. CTV's Kathy Lee explains.
A measles surge in Alberta forced hospitals like the Grey Nuns in Edmonton to triage patients in ambulances outside to prevent bringing the virus into the emergency room.
We have seen, dozens, unfortunately, of people requiring hospitalization. Measles is a serious infection. It is something that strains the healthcare system.
And it's expected in a few months, resources will be even more strained.
In addition to dealing with our standard, fall-winter respiratory viruses, we will be dealing with measles.
Alberta now has more than 1,300 confirmed cases of measles, the second province behind Ontario to surpass the United States.
In a matter of a few short months, Alberta has caught up to those confirmed cases.
The rapid spread because not enough people are immunized against the virus. Experts say 95% of the population needs to have full protection to achieve herd immunity. While immunization rates have increased in some parts of the province, there are others that are only at 50%. The province has a measles awareness campaign and expanded access to the vaccine in many communities, but medical experts say not enough was done.
It wasn't taken as seriously as it should have been. I think they felt that it would peter out, that it was isolated to certain communities, it would go away. It hasn't.
The government says the number of active cases has been stable for several weeks, and the measles transmission rate has slowed down, though there were 30 new cases diagnosed just last weekend.
The province says currently there are 3 patients in hospital for measles, and at no point have there been more than 4 in hospital at the same time being treated for the virus. The government says at this time it's not declaring a public health emergency, saying it's not warranted based on the current data. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
Some new numbers on inflation rates are saying they're pointing in a good direction, but some warn those numbers may be misleading. Here's CTV's Abigail Biman.
This family is not surprised to hear the cost of furniture has jumped.
Didn't want to spend a lot of money on real wood or anything right now, so IKEA was perfect.
Overall, new numbers from Statistics Canada show the Consumer Price Index rose 1.9% year over year in June, and that's up from 1.7% in May.
In general, it's good news because we are seeing inflation kind of stay below that 2% marker.
But important to note, when you take energy out of the equation, the number is much higher, 2.7%, and that's in part because of the removal of the carbon tax. Gas prices continue to be lower, though June's decline was smaller than May. Better news for your grocery bill. Food prices are increasing at a slower pace, largely driven by a decline in vegetable prices, specifically helped by cheaper onions and cucumbers.
If we didn't have 2 incomes coming in, we wouldn't be able to afford the life that we have.
Another standout category, car prices. Those are up 4.1%, and in the used car market, 1.7%, and that is the first year-over-year increase in 18 months.
Low supply, high demand, and used car prices have been going up.
Now to trade it in, I get good money for it, but the price of new vehicles is almost beyond reach.
A big question in all of this, the impact of the trade war with the U.S. Opinions are mixed, and Statistics Canada isn't saying much, with some economists saying it's too early to see the hit now. But buckle up.
If you're not frightened almost to death, then you haven't been paying attention.
And we are expecting to see Canada's economy shrink a little bit in this second quarter.
These numbers are the last look the Bank of Canada has at price data before the next interest rate decision coming July 30th. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
As the Prime Minister walked into a virtual emergency meeting with his inner circle, he cast doubt on Canada being able to secure a trade deal by August 1st that lifts tariffs. CTV's Rachel Aiello on Carney putting Canadians on notice.
Staring down an August 1st deadline, the Prime Minister convened a rare summer cabinet meeting to discuss U.S. President Donald Trump's latest 35% tariff threat.
I expect that the discussions will intensify between now and the end of the month.
With the goalposts moved again, Carney lowered expectations that a new deal would result in Trump dropping all tariffs, noting that so far no country has secured a tariff-free trade agreement with the U.S.
Certainly comes off as a bit of a wake-up call for.
It's an admission this lawyer, who used to litigate for Canada against the United States, says sends a clear signal to businesses.
If a baseline tariff does look like it's going to stick, then all of a sudden you can't operate in that environment forever, and you have to make real lasting decisions with respect to your customers and your suppliers.
While Canadian companies brace for the potential of longer-term American tariffs, south of the border, Trump sounded more optimistic about how talks are going.
We're negotiating with Canada right now, and we'll see how that all works out. I think it's going to work out very well.
These developments come as fresh data suggests Canadians are split on their confidence in Carney delivering. New polling shows 63% of Canadians want the Prime Minister to take a harder line in negotiations, while 37% prefer a softer approach.
Domestic confidence is going to be important. Carney needs to feel like he has a mandate from the people of Canada.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre accused Carney of conceding. The Prime Minister campaigned on taking Trump on with his elbows up, but since winning the election, even as the U.S. administration has ratcheted up the trade war, Canada hasn't retaliated.
Turning to the markets now, Canada's main stock index was up nearly 100 points to finish trading, helped by gains in the tech sector, while U.S. markets also rose. The Canadian dollar fell just slightly. The price of gold rose $22.40. Oil dropped 18 cents. Natural gas rose by 3. Aluminum was up $8. In Toronto, the TSX was up almost 99 points. The Venture Index was up by 4. In New York, the Dow Jones was up 231 points, and the Nasdaq was up by close to 53 points. Still ahead, an epic worldwide bike adventure. One biker's incredible journey across the world is with the goal of breaking a world record. Have a look.
I can't wait to hear more of his stories. We didn't get enough time with him.
Matt Gervais spent 20 minutes on a ride with Aurelia's Mark Herbst from Leamington to Wheatley Tuesday morning, which is hardly enough time to hear stories about a journey that has so far taken Mark through 6 countries. Since January, he has been on a 30,000-kilometer journey around the world that started and will end in Thailand.
189 days ago today, I left Bangkok, Thailand, went down through Malaysia, Singapore, across Australia, up New Zealand, over to Vancouver, down the west coast of the States, up Route 66 to Leamington.
He's on the Canada leg of a tour en route to setting a Guinness World Record for the oldest person to ride around the world. The minimum distance is 29,000 kilometers with the same bicycle. The route is tracked.
Can't wait to be back in Canada. So excited about this.
Mark does a daily video and has to take pictures to validate where he has been. There have been stops along the way, including Route 66.
Well, I'm standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. You can go there and stand at a statue with Glenn Fry and a flatbed Ford and that. So it was really cool.
Mark admits the journey is lonely at times, providing a lot of time to reflect on the real reason he is on the road.
I'm also raising funds for Princess Margaret Hospital in Toronto. They're one of the top 5 cancer research hospitals in the world. And the reason I'm doing that is my wife died of cancer 3 years ago.
An Ironman athlete, his wife Jackie was full of life, and his ride has had moments of spirituality.
There are moments I'll ride along and I'll just have this thought of Jackie and I'll just start crying. But there's so much happiness in there as well. It's just like there are just days where I know she's here.
Mark intends to share his experience in a book.
Challenge yourself. It doesn't have to be like ride around the world. It's just like anything. Ride around the block. Learn a language. Just use these gifts that we've been given before they're gone.
The Wildlife Rescue Association of BC says animals can use some human help as the province is set to be hit with a heat wave. They say the hot weather has led to reports of baby gulls overheating in rooftop nests, baby bats being found on the ground after being ejected from overheated colonies, and other animals parched from extreme heat. The association says people can help wildlife by leaving out shallow water dishes and bird baths, offering shade with household items, and by planting trees and shrubs. That's our news for now. Thanks for watching.